Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about, uh, in my humble opinion, there is a secret adventure in Dragons of Stormwreck Isle that is specifically put there for legacy dungeon masters of Dungeons and Dragons to run. All right, and so I want to talk about that today. Okay, so here's my so first of all, there's a little bit of setup for this. It is my in my humble opinion, there are four Dungeons and Dragons 1980s Saturday morning cartoon player characters in Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. They are represented in the art, but they're not just like drawn there. They're literally tied into the adventure through the art into Stormwreck Isle's history and the Dragons of Stormwreck Isle adventure, the public adventure. There are two, in my humble opinion, there are two. Wait, let me get through my setup. Sorry. So I'm saying flat out that anyone who has eyeballs to see will immediately recognize that there are four Dungeons and Dragons 1980s cartoon character, 1980s Saturday morning cartoon characters in this adventure. Okay, Presto the Magician, Eric the Cavalier, Diane the Acrobat, and Hank the Ranger. Okay. And if you're like, Scott, why do you believe that? There's been statements that they're not those characters. Watch the video in the link below. In addition to that, I am saying that So you need to understand that in order to move forward. So if you don't understand that, go ahead and watch that first video. Come back here. Okay. All right. I am stating, right, that in my humble opinion, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle is historically important in Dungeons & Dragons. It's the first 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons adventure, in my humble opinion, that contains a secret adventure. There are two adventures, in my humble opinion, in Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. There is the Muggle adventure. That's for, like, oh my gosh, I just watched Stranger Things 4. I'm excited, and I'm at Target, and there's the product on the wall. I don't know anything about Dungeons & Dragons. I'll give it a try, right? And you run the public adventure that is presented there. Okay, then there's you and me, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, that's the you're in Target, and actually you're not in Target. You've been known about this for 6 months, right? Like, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's available now. Holy cows! There is an entire adventure that is being shown in the art of this book in Dungeons & Dragons, and this has never happened before, ever. This is a historical first, which is, in my humble opinion, this is a historical first. There is an entire adventure that is put forward to legacy dungeon masters that have been playing from first edition, who have been running. There is an adventure, a secret adventure contained in Dragons of Stormwreck Isle that was specifically put there to be run, in my humble opinion, by dungeon masters who have run 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E, and 5E, and no one else, because no one else even has a possibility of understanding this or being capable of it. But if you are a legacy dungeon master like me, right, and have run 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E, and 5E, and have a key to unlock the mystery contained within Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, I think you have a special secret adventure that has been put there for you to run. And here it is, okay? The name of it is Stormwreck Isle, Sheila's Return, okay? And it is the story of how Sheila Sheila, the thief, is able to return to Earth, okay? And Bobby and Uni do not want to go, but Bobby is Sheila's sister, and he goes with her. And Uni never leaves Bobby. So Sheila returns to Earth, okay? Bobby and Uni go because they're bound to her. They're bound to her by family and by love, right? Like, Bobby is bound to Sheila as family. Uni is bound to Bobby because he loves him, right? Like, they love each other. It's, just like you love your Labrador Retriever, right? Like, I don't know, maybe you're heartless and you don't love your Labrador Retriever, but if you ever had a pet that you love, I recently lost a pet, a leopard gecko by the name of Jojo, and I loved him. He was a member of our family. And so Uni would go with Bobby, and Bobby would go with Sheila. Sheila returned to Earth. I think that is made crystal clear if you read and look at what is presented in Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. So in my humble opinion, the secret adventure, Sheila's Return, which is her return to Earth, is Sheila, Bobby, and Uni are the only Dungeons & Dragons Saturday morning cartoon characters that are able to make it back to Earth. Okay? And they are able to make it back to Earth, but Eric the Cavalier, Diane the Acrobat, and Hank the Ranger, and Presto the Magician remain in the Dungeons & Dragons world. And every clue you need, right, to determine the path of how that happened, about 110 to 120 years before the Muggle adventure, the Muggle public adventure in Dragons of Stormwreck Isle is presented, is there. All right? Now you're like, wait a second, Scott. Why on earth would Wizards of the Coast put a secret adventure in a public adventure, especially in a starter set? I'm going to tell you. All right? At the macro level, the designers of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition understand that they are the true banner carriers of Gary Gygax, and they dedicate themselves in the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition book. You will find Gary's name bold, celebrated. His legacy is carried by the D&D 5th edition Player's Handbook, and every single product that has ever been created to 5th edition points you to the Player's Handbook and points you directly with a neon sign right back to Gary Gygax. In my humble opinion, Gary Gygax set up Unbound Identity, which is he set up Unbound Identity, and I have the Unbound Identity theory that states that. Okay, how he did that. In my humble opinion, he created Unbound Identity in Dungeons & Dragons. I think the reason the secret adventurer is there is so that 5th edition claims its right and proper place as the banner carrier, the full celebration center, the most dedicated group of designers, players, dungeon masters. If you care about Gary, you play 5th edition. And the secret adventure is put there to celebrate and reward everyone who has never forgotten Gary Gygax. And I think every person who loves Gary Gygax to this day and listens to every word he says from the grave with his legacy is going to love this adventure, this secret adventure that is placed right in the heart of Dragons of Stormwreck Isle. That's my opinion. What's yours? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.